2009 Shade Tree Commission meeting. We have 2 items on the agenda plus a review of what's going on with the SEPTA train station. And the first item is 805 Parks Run Lane. So if that representation could please step to the podium and identify themselves.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. Elliot Templeton and Jim Norsini. We're representing 805 Parks Run Lane. The engineer cannot be here this evening. He's away on vacation, so I'm stepping in for him, and we're back, hopefully the last time. We're proposing to remove a few trees on this property and need to figure out if what we have proposed will be acceptable or what we need to do to make it acceptable.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, can you walk us through the changes that you have made since your last appearance?
Since the last submission, we've amended the plan to correctly clarify the species of trees that are on the property that are going to remain and will also be removed. They are now depicted on here correctly, and I think there were a couple that were mismarked, and we've corrected them also.
Okay. Yeah, for general public knowledge, 3 members of the Shade Tree Commission did do a site visit of this proposed development, and we did find some misidentified species, et cetera, which was not the end of the world. The thing that did alarm us is the amount of mature trees that are being removed. And what puzzles us is why one would purchase a lot of this nature and propose to remove a majority of its trees. That was a concern of ours. One of the driving forces that I think we heard when we were on site was the house and the new proposed swimming pool are on an axis. And from a landscape design point of view, I can certainly appreciate what they're trying to achieve with that design element. One of the questions that we raised is there any room to shift that axis slightly? Because that axis is responsible for some of the large mature tree removal.
I think that to be blunt, no, I think that there's been a lot of thought process going through with the architects on this site, and my involvement on the rotation of the house was driven by the architects' rotation and their view. The pool, we looked at some alternatives as we discussed about where else to put that, but we were trying to pull things away from the tennis court without cramming things in there. And to answer the question, if we could maybe swap out some of the back perimeter trees that would be on the southwest side in lieu of, save some of those possibly behind the tennis court, then allowing us to take more, keeping the access on what we have, taking some of those other ones down, if that would work, I think we'd be okay with that. But to answer your question, I think it would be, I can't change the axes on that because that was developed way before I was brought into the site for the house.
Now, where are the trees that you're saying you would not take?
Can you see here? It would be some of these species that are run along the back portion behind the tennis court over here, and even a couple, there's some large poplars that are backing in here, and even a couple oaks that are backing in here. We could maintain some of these trees that would be along the north side of the property and on the southwest portion behind the tennis court, allowing us to take some more of these out of the midsection. We had originally wanted to take some of these out on the north side to keep the tennis court a little cleaner, but I think that that's something that we might be able to accommodate.
Okay. Also in the northeast corner, where Leslie Road, Parks Run Lane form a bit of a triangle in here. There was a significant amount of things being removed there.
That's this area right in
Yeah.
Right.
Which we felt it was questionable. I understand that it has been expressed that the owner would like to establish an orchard in there.
Yeah.
And are those orchard trees part of your replacement formula?
They were originally in there, but I think we have a couple other crab apples up by the courtyard of the driveway that are taking place for those. But yes, they were in the formalization, but with the offset of the trees that are up by that crab apples we have up by the house, I think that will offset the two species of apples. And that on that area there, the other trees that are in there were those a couple locusts, the marine locusts, and the black locust. I don't know if we're going to maintain some of those. I just don't know if that's really the right tree to keep.
Right. Now, again, we would not consider it, and it's not in our tree list, that an orchard tree would be considered
Right.
a compensatory tree.
Okay.
Orchard trees are typically short-lived.
Right. Yeah. I have a feeling what will end up happening is that orchard will become more of a faux orchard. We'll simulate an orchard with floribunda crabs, and we'll prune them to look like an orchard, because I have a feeling that the maintenance isn't going to be there that they realize. Plus, the sunlight we were getting there is also, kind of intermittent.
Right. Now, even though they're locusts, again, one of the main issues, and people probably get sick and tired of hearing me saying it, is that any large canopy tree is well worth keeping for its environmental controls.
Okay.
And even though locust is perhaps not as acceptable as an oak, it's still a large canopy tree and doing what large canopy trees need to do. And with the amount of large canopy trees being removed from this property, I would recommend that we do all we can to keep all we can. Again, there's a significant amount of large canopy trees being pulled down off this property.
Could you turn to next page? All right, I'm looking for the one that has the house outline on it.
These both show the existing home that's there now.
Yeah, but I was looking for the,
The proposed house
Yes.
is right here.
Do you have a copy of the
Yeah.
planning
I
plan
guess
there?
my question is, you're not putting a whole lot of stuff through there. You're just putting a fence through there, isn't that correct?
No.
You're just putting there's a wooden fence through there, but why would you need to take a whole lot of that out anyway?
Yeah, this is the area where
Yes.
it's undergrowth right now. And it has locust trees scattered throughout, and some other species, but primarily locust trees. And what they're proposing is to take out the understory, which is just weedy undergrowth, which is fine, and then plant an orchard. The issue is the amount of large trees they're taking out to plant a faux orchard when we're already disturbing a significant amount of the tree canopy on the rest of the property. In my mind, Jim Ward's mind, and Bill Thomas's mind is questionable.
What if we took out some of those locusts over there and replanted a few oaks in those areas?
that would,
I mean, that to me would be more, I
That's
would
what-
rather see us do that.
that's what we're
remove the-
striving for. Our-
Yeah, yeah.
Our whole mission, in all honesty, right now.
Right.
Is to encourage as much planting of large canopy trees as possible.
Right, yeah,
You know, the small canopies are pretty and they're cute and they flower.
right.
Um,
Well, if you wouldn't have a problem with me amending, you know, as long as it doesn't slow up the process, but I could amend some of the dogwoods that we had in there and switch it out to some oaks. I don't have a problem with that. And if we strategically plant them in the lower corner, I mean, I would rather see us remove the locust because of the runners off the roots and just
Right.
the mess that they create, since we're trying to establish some turf on that portion of the property and implement in a couple, you know, oak trees to supplement, you know, removal of canopy trees. And maybe work with a 3-inch, 4-inch caliper that at least get something, it's got some size to it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that would be, you know, I can't see that being a problem. If we can offset some of the dogwoods, we can do it that way financially. They'll work with me and we'll work with you guys, and if it works, it works.
Okay. I seem to recall,
Could I just, with that, because locust, it gets confusing, but you're saying to take out, that you would take out the black locusts, but not the honey locusts?
Take out the
Right.
black look, correct.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
I seem to recall a rather large tulip tree
Back in this corner, back.
on the north,
Yep, right in here.
kind of almost dead north corner of the tennis court.
48-inch poplar, there it is, right in here.
Okay.
Those were the ones I was referring to in the beginning of our conversation that, you know, I understand what the amount of canopy coming out of here, and if we could maintain some of that to make it work out, I don't think it'll be a problem. We'll do some pruning, we'll cut back a little bit of the overhanging branches that are on the tennis court, and I think that, you know, we can work with the client and advise them that, you know, in lieu of what we're trying to work out here, this is the right course of action, and we'll prune them back so far and, you know, try to open some sky that way. So I don't think that would be a problem.
Would it still take out that tree?
No, we'd keep
No,
that.
we keep that.
Yeah, we keep it. We just cut it back a little bit. Just the overhanging branches are, the tennis court's a mess. But there are a couple on the north property line. There's one in there that is a 48-inch poplar. Also, there's 2 of those back on there. That one, though, I would hope that we could remove, because that, if anything, is a dangerous tree right on the property line. So if we could leave these southwest corner trees, or northwest corner trees, I'm sorry, and maybe pull this one out, that would be best.
And that has been evaluated and has been termed by an arborist to be an unsafe tree? Is
Well,
that- Or,
we haven't done an evaluation on it, no, haven't done a resistor on it, but the size of the tree, and with people playing tennis, and with the, as we all know, how poplars can break a branch every so often, it just is one that's back in the buffer there, and it's very inaccessible, and I just think that safety-wise, that would be, if we're taking them out, that would be one to take out at this point in time.
Would you replace it with something else?
Well, they have to.
Well, we have to, we already have that in the list, yeah.
I don't remember looking at that one.
Yeah, I
So-
recall.
You know, I'm leaning towards, you know, allowing you to take out the trees in the area of disturbance, allowing you to take out the black locusts, and in the back, taking out the cork tree, which is an invasive tree. With that, and then leaning towards not taking out any other trees, and with that poplar, the 48-inch poplar
This one over here.
that you'd like taken out, have that evaluated by an arborist, see if there's anything that can be, you know, if the tree is unsafe, then, you know, we're
Cut it
okay
down.
on taking out unsafe trees. If it's something that some pruning would make it that the tennis court would be a safer situation, or cabling, I think that's worth evaluating that tree for that.
I think that'd be, I think we'd be okay with that. So we would talk about leaving these trees along the back portion of the tennis court, There's a holly in here that we're going to transplant. Taking these trees out of here, the black locust and these, and leaving this corner, basically the north corner, intact.
Yeah.
Is what we're talking, and give a resistor graft on the big 40-inch poplar on the corner of the tennis court.
Yeah,
Is that all right with you? Or-
yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So if I have it correct, basically we draw a line. If I get my pencil to work, basically through here, just like that. So this remains with the exception of the 48-inch poplar.
Which will be evaluated to.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, then you're going to, the red oak by the tennis court. we're
That
gonna-
keeps that in. We'll
Yeah.
keep that in.
Right,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
just to make sure the line is
But the
where we're
cork
saying
tree,
it
we
is.
could take the couple cork trees that we have back, they could go.
Yep,
Okay, fine.
Now, the ones along Leslie Road that don't have the X's on it, you're leaving that?
They're remaining, yes. And they're actually going to be the hollies are we're transplanting, I think there's 8 or 9 hollies that are there. They're all going to move down to Leslie Road. And then we're implanting with some pine, and we'll put some dogwoods and some oaks in there.
And just refresh my memory on Parks, where the intersection of Parks Run and Leslie, that triangle.
There's a couple
there?
locusts in here we're going to remove, but there's a fair amount that we're leaving also.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I want to be sure of.
okay. Your future garage, how future is that?
That's a question for
It could
Jim.
be as early as, it could be as early as sometime next year, or it may get put on hold for a couple of years.
Okay,
It's unknown at this time.
because it seems to be in relative close proximity to your neighbor's trees, or your premise 2 trees, which are not really identified.
Well, this is the building setback here, isn't it? Premises 2, premises 1, sits right in here, right in kind of the old pool.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So the 10-inch, that's the other one.
Okay.
And you also have a 26-inch tree, which is,
Yeah,
seems to
that's
be
right on the property, that
line.
remains. That tree
Okay,
remains, and that literally is split by the fence. I don't know if you saw that when we
Yeah,
were
I
out there,
did.
but that tree does remain. And so does the one next to it there. I think that was a cherry in there, actually. That might be one of the spruces. But yeah, the garage, if that garage needs to slide a couple feet, I don't think it would be, to protect the root system a little bit.
if you do that, I would prefer that you identify what that, well, not if you do, but if you would please identify what that 10-inch tree
Okay.
is. It looks like the other 10 inches
It's an
are
it's an ash.
evergreen, okay.
Yeah, it's an ash.
Yeah, because you are well within its drip line according
Right.
to your scale.
Right. That is an ash there.
And identify that on the
And that
plan.
is with, if you see this, the line of evergreen, the line of buffer that's right on the basketball post, you see that?
Yep.
You see the line, there's a squiggly line that runs along it, that's the edge of the yews, the holly buffer and all
Right.
that, so that ash is back inside that buffer.
Right.
And that buffer will remain, so,
Right,
again, we would take utmost care with the root system of that hole to maintain we don't want to lose that with the garage.
okay. What I would recommend is that you take all these ideas back, redo your plan, resubmit to engineering, and we will take a quick look at the plan and determine whether or not they need to return. Okay? And we know we've brought you back a second time, and hopefully we don't have to bring you back a third time.
So, just so I understand, why are we, if we're all agreeing to this, we want it on paper, is that why? Or are we approved to remove with the understanding that we're going to make these changes? I guess that's my question.
What we're going into is what we're calling a conditional approval.
Okay,
We're not denying what we've just discussed,
okay,
but we're not approving it. What we want to see is, you know, a revised plan without necessarily having to bring you back again.
okay. And I guess my question is, that's the matter of the engineers removing the X's now, we got to go back into the compensatory trees, recalculate the trees. We'll make the changes on the planting plan, showing the oaks versus the dogwoods. Specify that ash on there, and then that'll go back to you. Now, what time frame do we work within? If we get that back to you next week, early part of the week, is that something that you'll review?
I would think that we'd be able to review it within a week after
Okay.
that.
All right, perfect.
So you're talking about a 2-week.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. I think that's good. Yep. Okay,
Good with that?
I'm happy. Okay,
Dope.
Great.
Thank you very much.
okay. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay. Okay, 288 Harris Lane. Thanks.
Good evening. John Dustin, I'm the homeowner.
Okay.
So I'll apologize, our engineer is also away, and we've sort of gotten short notice on the meeting, so I'll stumble through this the best I can.
That's fine.
Okay. What we're proposing doing here is putting a pool on the property, doing away with a pond with a liner, and enlarging our retention basin to accommodate those other projects. I think we're asking to remove 3 trees here, three ash trees that we would replace.
Okay.
And the sizes of those, I'm having a little trouble reading
Sure.
the sizes.
I believe they're 12 inches, 16 inches, and 19.
Okay. And they're all within about a 5-foot area of each other, is that
Correct,
right?
yes. That's right. You might get a little better look at them maybe on the second page.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And there are some other grading changes, but those changes do not affect any trees. Is that what I'm seeing?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think you know, we've tried to plan for the you know, tree preservation with the fencing and the silt fencing as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, okay. That's a change here, the solid.
Yeah, where they're doing away with this. Your stormwater collection system,
Yes.
okay, is there any grade changing going on with that, that device?
Any, I'm sorry, grade changing going on?
Where your stormwater collection system is, up on this, the plan you see on the screen,
Yes.
it's a rectangle surrounded by dots.
Rectangles.
Up, up, up,
That,
down, right on your pen, right under to your left.
To my left?
A little further.
rectangle,
Back.
Right
yeah,
here. Oh, that's my septic field.
okay.
Yeah, and no changes proposed to that.
That's existing.
That's existing?
That is existing,
Okay,
yes.
that's what I needed to know. Okay, and so you're taking 3 out and you're replacing with 3, right?
We would plan to do that, yes.
Okay. Has there been any thought to what you're replacing with?
There has not, no.
Okay.
We'd be happy to go with whatever the sort of the approved species are there.
Okay. Yeah, and again, we're on a roll in Radnor right now. And anytime you can plant large canopy trees, that's what we prefer.
Okay, yeah, we have quite a few on the property, but we'll replace them with something like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Very good. Okay. You're good to go. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, we have former chair of Radnor Township Shade Tree Commission with us tonight, who has, rightfully so, developed a concern over what is going on at the Wayne train station. As I reported in the last Shade Tree Commission meeting, this issue was brought up several months ago with the former township manager, and we had planned to talk with SEPTA, but those plans fell apart. I did meet with Dan Malloy, a township engineer, a couple weeks ago, and we walked the site, and we saw the obvious problems on the site due to the construction of the new train station. This afternoon, I received the actual planting plans and reviewed them, and it is obvious there has been some violations of the shade tree ordinance in that trees were removed without us knowing their size nor their species. And trees are being suggested to go back in. One of the species in my mind is questionable, but I'll ask my expert to my left here. But Jane, do you want to speak to any of this further?
I have the same concerns you have. That's what I saw.
Right.
I'm Jane Gaulis of West Wayne Avenue, and I have the same concerns you have in just looking at the site. And I thought for a while that perhaps what had happened, and I do not know, was that maybe Amtrak/SEPTA didn't have to pull permits, so therefore they didn't fall under our ordinance. But I still think with having a shade tree commission, I'm quite sure SEPTA seemed to be agreeable when I talked to Matt Bauman.
Right.
And it's just something I think the Shade Tree Commission should look at, and from the township's viewpoint anyway, and bring our knowledge and your knowledge to play into this, because it's our train station, it's our railroad, we own it, and they're spending our money actually, and why not use the expertise of our Shade Tree Commission? I think it's a shame at this point that the project went forward without having any tree protection put there. Why that happened, we don't know. But
right.
Now I'm glad to see there is a planting plan, because I was sort of thinking, maybe there's no planting plan.
Yeah.
And I think that having your input into being able to take it back to the Amtrak with whatever we all see is what's important.
Yeah. No, I think, again, it was various changes that we've all been going through. And I also know that the engineering division ran into a significant problem with the stormwater problems that came from this. And they were focusing, all their energies at that point on that problem. So this kind of took a back seat. I understand the project manager for this is available on September 2nd.
And I think it's September 10th, after Labor Day.
Is it the 10th?
I think
Okay.
so, yeah.
All right, we'll get that date straight, and then,
That's a Thursday?
A Wednesday, it would be a Wednesday.
you know,
Maybe the 9th.
I went,
Well, we'll work
I
through
sent a
that.
letter to the township. I also have a video. Do a video. And because there's even starting to plant things on the north side, even though construction's still going on. And it's just my opinion. But it looks like, I think that's no way to plant a job that they're spending millions of dollars on. I don't think the landscaping for this site can be considered an afterthought. Now I know there's a plan, so obviously it isn't. But I think we all see this. It's in downtown Wayne. It's our, well,
Yes.
do best practices. We're all
Right.
supposed to be doing transit-oriented design, have people come to our train station and use it. And the planting should be, appropriate for ongoing maintenance of the lot.
yeah.
Like, I'm speaking to the choir.
No,
What
but
trees are we planting?
some of the species they're planting are not that bad. I think we would encourage them, again, to consider more large canopy. There's,
Are there any large canopies?
yeah, there's red maple. I forget where the suggested list is. There's Pinus virginiana, which I didn't think would be an appropriate creature. There they are. And Acer griseum, yeah, that's nice, but I'm not sure they need that many. Again, October glory, not a terribly bad choice. I think it's a question of the numbers of the ornamentals compared to the large canopy is probably what we'll bring up with them.
If you see where the planting islands are, they're very small.
Yeah.
What's remain, at least the south side. And as far as I understand, the green area at the entrance to the south side is not part of their planting plan, and nor is the strip along the gift shop as you enter Station Avenue off of North Wayne. It's not part of their part of their plan. And maybe this is the time to look at that and see if any of it could be made part of the plan.
Right.
How tall did the ARs grow?
Pardon?
This AR, is that?
Acer
big tall?
rubrum, yeah, they're a significant tree. They get to be, 50, 60 feet. And willow oak is not a terribly bad choice for an urban environment, so. Oh. Okay.
Have you seen this? Have you seen it, or you've just seen that?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. But I've seen plants that look at it.
Why don't you come up and look?
Stuck 2 trees and they put trees in these planting islands over. They're not oak, that's what it's called. That's what I thought it was called out.
These look like red maples that are called out here.
Maybe there was another sketch plan of Matt.
Okay, and then the willow oaks are in the further south planting, but if I'm reading this. Okay.
That's on the sidewalk.
Okay.
That's now a sidewalk. This is a sidewalk now. These are all non-stamped plans, so I don't know.
Okay. Now, again,
I thought it would be a good idea for it to, whatever the final plan is, to come before.
right. No, thank you for bringing it to,
Amtrak should be agreeable.
yeah, I think we can work it out with them. But, thank you for watching it and bringing it to our attention. And again, we will get a meeting together with the project manager and work through it.
Dated
Who's doing the
2008,
project, SEPTA or
2008.
Amtrak?
I go there.
I go there walking.
Sometimes I also use the train, like, the city work too. And, if it's a
Contract.
contract, because Amtrak's railroad,
Mhm.
it's the rail.
You should use
Mike, actually.
It's just me, it's my understanding from some of the men working on the project, that it's an Amtrak, it's a SEPTA project, but it's an Amtrak, Amtrak owns the rails, so therefore, they actually are the contractor, but the people that, the project manager is a SEPTA.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I really don't know how to say it any other way. I have a feeling that, I don't know, but it's just that when you have so many layers of responsibility, props, that's one of the reasons that the project proceeded the way it has.
Right. Okay.
But once
Well,
again,
we'll nail
it's-
that date down and,
It's a multi-million-dollar public works project right in downtown Wayne, and I think that Radnor should have a look-see at what's going in there, because our public works department takes care of the train station landscaping. At least they have in the past. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
right. Okay, Jake.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other issues? Okay. Well, that concludes the August 2009 Shade Tree Commission meeting.
I can't